Welcome back to the Livin' in Sedona channel. If you're new here, I'm Cami, and today I am at the pavilion at Posse Grounds, and I try to be in places to give you a view. So today was a little challenging because this pavilion has a post on every corner, and I'm trying to give you a view of the red rock behind me. So today's video is kind of special. I'm going to introduce you to the man behind the camera, and we're getting started right now. As promised, I am here with my husband, Greg Goucher.
Hi, everyone.
He has been the guy behind the camera for a little while now, not from the very beginning, but he has been helping me film some videos, and he's usually always the guy on the hike with me. But one of the things that we wanted to talk about today was a lot of people ask us how you came to live in Sedona. And what's really interesting and kind of fun about living in Sedona is everybody has a story as to how they got here or why they're here. And that's one of the things that we both love about living here, because we get to learn about other people's stories. And you know, it's a lot of times they're very inspiring stories. Sometimes the stories have a lot of twists and turns, and sometimes even pain, but I love hearing people's story of how they came to Sedona. And so
yeah, which is very true, because most of us are transplants here, and so many of us came here for so many different reasons, and it's just amazing and really cool to hear the great stories and reasons why they're here and what they really enjoy about it, which is cool.
Yes, so we thought we would share our story. And I'm going to let Greg start because it was his whole idea.
That's right. It was all my fault. Definitely no doubt about that. I had lived up in Flagstaff during the 90s for some time and moved around throughout the country during the years. And then I met Cami 15 years ago. And she had never been out west except for Las Vegas. And I thought, well, you're missing a lot. So jumped on the plane with two of our kids and headed out here, and first place I brought her was to Sedona here in Arizona. And it was kind of funny because she's like, "You made a mistake," and I thinking, "No, I didn't." So and here we are, 15 years later, after taking numerous trips back here and back and forth here. That's where we're at.
Well, there was a lot of going on, different things happening between 15 years ago. Well, it wasn't really 15 years ago. It was really 2012 was our first trip out here. And I remember thinking, this is a place that I could probably live in. I mean, I remember that very first time that thought occurred to me, and I've never lived anywhere else but Ohio, and have never really had the desire to live anywhere else except for when I first visited Sedona. So in 2012, our first visit, following those years later, all of these years in between now and then, we have visited Sedona with our family for 1 to 2 times a year, every year. So I kind of have this thought that if you've visited a place more than 3 times, then you're no longer a visitor or a tourist. You actually know a little bit about the place that you're visiting, and you probably know more than some of the other people that are visiting. And so Sedona really became a place of refuge, a place of rejuvenation, peace, solitude, just a place where we could come and not only enjoy the beautiful scenery that God has given to us, but we just have always felt peaceful here and connected, I think, is a very big word.
It's a huge word.
Yes.
I mean, we always feel every time we would show up here, and just give an example, we would come up from Phoenix, we would get off on I-17, get on Route 179 to head straight to the village of Oak Creek, and every time I could see the emotion of like peace and joy, and just Cami just had this peace among her that you can just it just exuded throughout the vehicle, which is amazing. And every time we even actually have to go somewhere else and then come back, you can just sense it from her. And so she's always had that peace, no matter every time we've shown up here, really.
Yes.
You know.
But the other thing that, and I've talked about this before, is I felt physically better. Some of you know I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis in my early 30s, and living in Ohio with a lot of precipitation caused me to be in a lot of pain. I don't have that when I'm here. The dry heat really takes all of the joint pain, the swelling away, and so I just feel physically better when I'm here. And when you feel physically better, you feel emotionally better and healthier. And so I just kept experiencing that every time we came here.
Yeah.
And
the big thing too is basically the blue skies, as you can see here. Even though we have a few clouds right there, but you can see the deep blue, and that's something that Cami had seen in Ohio often, maybe
not
a few
a lot,
times,
because
not a lot.
we don't have a lot of sun.
Yeah, and you can just you can just feel that as soon as you get here. Just the vitamin D that we get, and just it awakes you. It gets you. It makes you feel
Energizes you.
alive, which is really cool.
Yes. So anyway, we always felt that, yes, we probably would either one, own a second home here or retire here. We just had that in the back of our minds that would probably one day happen. In 2022, we had a very huge life event. And this life event just made us stop. It was almost something that you couldn't think through, being in a place where everything was chaotic. And so we found that we had to be somewhere that we could think straight.
Yep. And we had a very close mentor friend who told us, where is it that you have, where is that place for you? And that was very easy for us to quickly
we
come
looked
up
at
with.
each other and we were just like, how are we going to find a place to stay for, we were going to probably stay for a month.
And it's Sedona.
And it was Sedona.
Yeah.
And I think that it was easy to make that decision to come and stay in Sedona for a month to kind of get our heads straight. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even a thought that we were going to move during that time.
Right.
But one of the issues that really became forefront was, where are we going to stay for that long that we can actually afford for that long in Sedona?
And a place for our dog.
And a place we were bringing our dog. So the fact that I'm going to use God, because we have a faith in God, but you can use the word universe, whatever you want to put in there. But our faith in God just planned it out for us. He made an Airbnb available, not only for 1 month, but let's say 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. He just paved the way for us to get here. And that in itself was just an eye-opening experience, that something was going on outside of us that we weren't aware of to get us here.
Yeah.
So we came for a month. We came in the worst month, I think, that you could come to Sedona. August is hot, and it's monsoon season, and it can be sticky and a lot of no-see-ums, and it's just not like the best time of year to be in Sedona. But our thought was, well, we're going to just do it, see what happens, and see if we can even tolerate the worst month in Sedona. And then when we are ready to move, we'll know that we can handle it, right?
Yep. It was, no doubt. And that is true. And it was actually one of the wettest monsoon seasons that they had seen in a very, very long time. It was actually close to the Chapel of the Holy Cross, which is actually the chapel area where we stayed. We stayed there. It couldn't have been any better than that. Just for the simple fact of every day, we would always walk all the way up to the chapel, spend some time in prayer and meditation while we're there, and just work through everything that was going on in our minds that we were, we had a lot of prayers. We needed to pray. We needed to spend that time. And having that time to be able to do that and to spend time together as a couple and to really work through all that, it couldn't have, the prayers were answered. There's no question about it.
So about 2 weeks into our 1 month stay, we started thinking about, is this possible? We know that the cost of living in Sedona is much greater, much higher than where we were coming from. We just really didn't know how we were going to handle the cost of living, handle the transition. We did have an investment company that we were still running in Ohio, but we also knew that we were going to have employment. And we had been self-employed for
3 years.
3 years almost.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's right, almost 3 years. Mm-hmm. And so that was not going to be the case. We were going to probably have to find jobs in order to make this work. And that was a lot of soul searching to do. And I remember thinking when we were visiting, I'd be like, oh, if I had to live in a tent in Sedona, I would do it because, it's beautiful. But when it comes down to it, I don't really think that I would live in a tent. And so, all of these things started, coming to our mind. And again, this is where God just opened the doors because we had jobs like that.
We did.
And we had been actually considering employment in Ohio mm-hmm. for that last month or 6 weeks prior. And just nothing was opening up, and
right.
Nothing was just panning out. And it doesn't help that we had been self-employed. We both have master's degrees. We aren't people that are just we are educated people, and it was difficult to find a job back there. But again, that was just something that God paved the way, and mm-hmm. we were able to continue staying in our Airbnb, and we started looking for more solidified housing, which we knew was going to be an issue, and it was. Mm-hmm. And we moved 3 times in 3 months.
Not because we wanted
to, but because of the housing situation. We had secured some housing, and then they ended up putting the house on the market while we were in our rental term, so right. We therefore needed to move again.
But it was a beautiful thing, just because the simple fact that we've been down the Chapel area, and then the other one was up in Uptown, and now we're actually out western part of Sedona and Cornville area, and it's given us a lot of great insight of where we really want to live,
Yes.
And that's something that Cami's mentioned to you before, but it's a great thing is we've been in 3 different locations throughout town where now we we know where we want to be now, which
yes.
is really cool. So it's been a huge plus.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I recommend to anybody who's considering relocating here, especially from it's a huge move, let's say from the Midwest or the East Coast. If you've really not spent a whole lot of time here, and we have spent a whole lot of time here, and even now, we always wanted to live in the Chapel area, but right now I think that's changing. I don't mm-hmm. think that we're going to end up there, but mm-hmm. I always recommend for people to spend some time, if you can, having a short-term rental so you can get the feel of what side of town you want to live in.
100%.
And we've been able to do that in 3 different areas, and I love certain things about certain areas, and there's certain things I don't like about some of the areas. And so I'm really, even though it's not ideal to have moved that many times, it's been really very educational and really good for me as an real estate agent, to be able to get to know that specific area and the benefits of living in certain areas. So that's been very helpful.
Huge. Yeah. The one thing you're hearing right there is we've had to pivot a lot. So that's something that has forced us to do that, especially with our being business owners and now being realtors and things like that. It's forced us to learn how to pivot so many ways. And I just mentioned one thing before we move on, but our pastor, when we sat down with him one time, And we were like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? And things like that. And he's like, look, I've been here for almost 14 years, and I've seen a lot of people come and go, and they're like, yeah, we can go do this and this. But being savvy is a word that he referred to the two of us. And I think that's something to keep in mind if you are considering moving here and jump in, making taking that leap of faith, basically.
That's what it is.
To come to one of the most beautiful places on the face of the earth.
Yes.
So.
And I want to, that's going to be something that we're going to talk about later, is how have we done extra jobs and certain things to be able to live here, because that's like a whole nother video, separate video in itself. But it's an important video because, people can't just come here and run jewelry stores. I mean, you're not going to make it.
So many of you want to live in Sedona, want to move here. You're probably thinking, how do we do this? And can't figure this out. What will it take? What does it require? Maybe things like that. So we are wanting to really come together with you guys to be able to say, hey, these are things that we have done that have worked for us, that we've seen work for other people too. That way you can come and live
the Sedona
dream, exactly, and get to see the most beautiful scenery right behind us and one of the best sunsets ever.
Well, you did a good job ending that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Well, it's been a dream of mine to live here for many years in some shape or form. And the fact that I've been here now for 2 years, we've been here now for 2 years, it really, there are times when I just think, I can't believe that I'm here. And I'm very blessed to be here. I'm very grateful to be here. One of the things that I'm going to just mention quickly, and then we're going to wrap this up, is that I do leave every 3 to 4 months to see our kids, see our family. That was one of the things that was like,
that's the deal.
That's the deal. I have to see them. I have to be there. But what's great about leaving is coming home. Make it a great day at Living in Sedona.